Happy Friday! This is my big shout out to AVH Business Services because so far they're my biggest fans. um, I'm doing this little series for office stress, releasing the tension and the build up of the week. So it's applicable to anyone really. I've been doing a lot of desk work this week and I can really feel it in my shoulders and neck. So today I thought we'd take it down to the ground, which may be awkward at an office. I mean, I'm still in my office gear, but we'll make it work. So just finding spread out the desks or something, find some ground that isn't too hard on your knees and butt. And if you do have any knee issues, just maybe a towel or a cushion if you've got them around the office, but I'll make some adjustments anyway. So let's really ground our energy, get rid of all the stress of the week. So this is Yoga for Office Stress 3.0. I hope you like it. So hopefully you can see me from here. The first thing we do when we try and release the tension is we're going to breathe. So let's just sit down. You can do this little kneeling pose if that's okay for you, or we can do easy pose, which is cross-legged, which actually isn't so easy for a lot of people. So go with what your body tells you, move the way your body tells you to. So sitting down, sit bones are really grounded into the earth here. If this is in any way comfortable, you can move your legs or knees, put a pillow under your thighs, or go back to that kneeling position. Just find where you feel good here. And take a few deep breaths. So let's just let go of everything we've been holding on to, all of the demands, all of the pressure, and we'll take a deliberate in-breath and pause in between the in and the out, and then all the way out, and pause between the out and the in. And then do this a few times. So we're noticing the 4 parts to our breath. There is actually 4 parts. And the more we slow it down and hold our attention on the 4 parts, you might notice the parasympathetic nervous system starts to activate. So shut your eyes if you feel comfortable in your office environment, but eyes can just be a gentle gaze forward if that feels okay too. Pause out. Noticing where the breath is entering the body. It might be nose, back of the throat, chest, lungs, tummy. Noticing the movement. And if your thoughts sort of intrude or demands or there's feelings that are getting in the way, just gently coming back to the breath. Gently returning to the sensations in the body. And maybe even making a little quick intention for yourself, just something you need for today, something you need for your Friday to go into the weekend with. And then we breathe as if it's already true. So let's do a couple of neck rolls here because that's where we feel it, right? Maybe start with the shoulders, do a few big circles. And the other way, really loosening that up. And try and move with your breath here. So the neck is very delicate, so we'll go gently. So we'll just go to one side, and you can even use your hand to add a little bit of pressure, or you can just do it naturally. So just breathe and notice on the exhale it might just loosen a little more. Slowly come back to center, and the other way. Inhale to come back to center, and we'll go one more, and this time we just go head to the side, and then we just sort of tilt the chin and then the head forward, so you're almost stretching the back of the shoulder blades there. So just a gentle, keeping the shoulders down, back to center, go the other way, and then just twist forward just that little bit, keeping the shoulders down, exhaling, back to center. Big ha, out the stress, shake it off. So one big breath here as we lift our arms up, look up, And then exhale to the arms to come down, to touch the mat or the floor or wherever you are. You can even do this sitting on a chair if the ground isn't for you too. So we're just going to put our elbow towards the ground here, palm facing down. We're just going to bend over to one side. So go gently with your breath, so don't go to where you can't breathe. We want to keep this flowy. Inhale, exhale, opening up the side of your body here. You can even look up if that feels okay. Making sure the sit bones are still grounded. Couple of breaths. Ah, yeah, that's good, right? Coming back slowly. The magic is in the slow movements because we just don't notice our body when we're moving fast. So elbow to ground, not all the way, palm facing down, and breathe here. Even opening up a little if that feels okay. And back to center. Maybe even noticing there's a bit of spaciousness already and a little bit of loosening. We're getting sort of warm here. Maybe even a little sort of seated cat-cow, so we sort of arch the back, lift the chin, open the heart center. Exhale to round the spine, looking down. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. And we'll do this with our arms this time. So arms in front, nice and tall, long spine. So inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms to the middle, sort of halfway. Inhale, arms come all the way out. Arch the spine, open the heart center, looking up. And then exhale to round the spine, bring the hands forward, looking down, yeah. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, arms come halfway. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, folding, sort of rounding, looking down if that feels okay. Last one, inhale up. Exhale. And inhale to open our chest, yeah. Exhale. Lovely. So one last seated option. We're going to do a little twist, so really warming up the spine here. So one hand to knee, if that feels okay. Lifting in the spine, making sure we're grounded here. We're just going to lift around. You can even put one hand back to sort of help with the twist. Don't go to your edge. We're just going to slowly twist here, keeping the length, keeping nice and tall, and look over your back shoulder if that feels all right, or you can just look straight ahead. Exhale the tension in the spine, in the side body. And then back the other way. So just hand here, moving nice and slow, so we're not jerking, we're not forcing anything. Inhale, keep that length in the spine, twist and look over the shoulder if you can. Exhale, notice how the tension releases as you exhale. And then looking to the front and untwisting. Yeah, feels good. And we might do that, but we'll cross the legs the other way. So we'll do that one more time, but with our legs crossed the other way. Just a simple twist, nice and long. Untwist. With your breath, inhale and exhale. Beautiful. You know, you can even put some lovely meditation music. There's a great one on Spotify at the moment called Hatha Yoga. So if you want to really get into the Zen while you're doing your office yoga, I encourage any type of Zen in this environment. So beautiful, nice warming up. So we just come over into our actual cat-cow here. So if you've done yoga before, tabletop is simply like a table. So we make sure our knees are hip width apart, wrists are right under our shoulders here, hands are nice and wide to support the weight. And we just lengthen the spine Maybe tuck the shoulders back a little bit so you can feel your neck going nice and long. Core's on just a little bit here. So this feels really stable and strong. So to open up our shoulder blades here, we're going to thread the needle. So we may be lifting our right arm up, little twist, sort of opening out, and then threading under the armpit here. So sort of pulling that arm through till our forehead and side of the head comes to the ground. Exhale. It's almost like a balance on your knees a little bit, but it should feel beautiful in your shoulder blades. It's like a twist and a little kneeling balance at the same time. Couple of breaths. Now you can stay as long as you like because you can pause the video so you can determine the speed here. And we do the other side. So a little open up, that feels good. Thread the needle, pulling that arm through and coming down, resting the side of the forehead. Exhale. And slowly coming up. Back to tabletop, noticing how things might be loosening and releasing. Maybe you feel like a few hip circles here. Go with what your body's telling you. You might want to go back and forth, around, just finding what feels good here. And we're going to sit back, so hopefully you've taken your shoes off. Don't worry about the smell, it doesn't matter. So toes here, we're just going to sit back gently on our toes because we don't do this flexing of our feet very often. It's quite, looks simple, but it actually is like pretty intense. Little stretch on the toes and the feet. Inhale, come forward, and we're going to do a bit of wrist therapy here for all that typing and wrist work you do. So we're alternating our wrists. If you're really flexing in your wrist, you might even want to do both at the same time, but we'll just alternate here. I think it's pretty strong. So playing around with where that feels good and alternating, exhaling as you do this fully as we activate our sort of rest and digest part of the nervous system, preparing for the rest of the weekend or maybe to ramp it up, I don't know. Great, so sitting back here, giving them a shake. This is good, this is a great, you should be doing this every day really to prevent RSI or strain in the wrists. So back to our cat-cow, we're going to activate a little bit of core here. So cat and cow, like we did seated before, the cat is the sort of arch of the back, lift the heart center and the chin, and then we exhale to round and look down. Oh yeah. Do that one more time. Inhale, look up. Exhale to round. Once more. Inhale, look up, lift the chin, heart center, and exhale to round. And then you might even like to lift one knee into the body like we're sort of curling in and then stretching out. So it's the same movement, but we're using our core here. With your breath. Once more. And slowly down. Reset, come back to center. Might even notice a difference, one side of the body to the other. And then we inhale, knee on the other side. Rounding, activating all our beautiful leg muscle, core muscles. Once more. And coming in, nice and slow. Keeping nice and sort of solid in our center there. Beautiful. So let's go back into a child's pose. Most of us like wide leg. You can do knees together if you like, but wide knees, ankles touching. We're just sitting our hips back towards our ankles, and then the hands come forward as if someone's pulling your arms for you. So pull, 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 pull. This should feel like you're opening up not just your hip space, but all under your armpits, the shoulder blades. So yeah, really let all the energy go from your forehead right into the ground here. Exhale. So staying here for a good 3 to 4, 5 breaths, because this is just a beautiful restorative pose for office stress. It sends all that negative energy back to the earth. So just let it go into your child's pose. You might even do little mini walks with your fingers just to get a little bit more stretch there. Perhaps even walking from one side with your arms to get your side body opened up. And back the other way. Lovely, keeping those hips sort of back towards the heels. And back to center when you're ready. Oh, isn't that great? So now down to the hips. So we've sort of done the shoulder blades and the arms. Let's do some hip opening. So we're just going to come up on our little knees here. And we're going to lift one knee up, sort of like this is like a crescent lunge. And this, you can just stay here if you like. Support knees if they're sore. And we're just going to find where that feels good. So you might even like to go right down to a crescent. Don't push right to your edge. Just sort of find where it's opening. There's a mix between strengthening and lengthening. It's like it's active, but creating space at the same time. So hands can be on the knee or the hip. And we're going to breathe. That should feel really good on your hip flexors. And then slowly coming back, we're going to lift the toes, pull the hips back for a hamstring stretch here. So just coming to where it feels okay. Micro bend in the knee here so it doesn't lock out. We're going to lengthen the spine. That should feel really nice down the calves, the hamstrings, keeping that length and air flowing. And back once more for that lovely hip stretch, crescent lunge. And once more. There we go. Like a little pyramid stretch here. Toes are pointed to the ceiling. Hips are nice and square. And then back to crescent. So one last opportunity here in crescent. This is not for everyone, it's quite strong. But you might like to reach towards your foot, and then that gives a hamstring stretch at the same time. Please be careful of your knees. Do not need to push yourself. If this does not feel right, do not do it. Just do the crescent lunge. Exhale, tension. And letting go gently. And go the other way. Lovely, hips are square, just bending forward here. Find where it feels okay for you. You can even adjust feet, hips. It's lovely to open up our hip spaces after sitting all week. And then lengthen the spine, neck is long and not tensed, toes are pointed, hips come back. Little pyramid stretch on the hamstrings, the calves, and slowly coming forward. You can even tuck the toes if that feels more stable. You want to feel nice and stable here. Even opening the heart space and the chin a little if that feels alright. Exhale, calming back, pointing toes to ceiling. Micro bend in the knees so you don't lock it out. Exhale all that tension and build up. Coming forward. And if it feels really nice and stable and your knees will tolerate it, we can do a little reach around. See, I'm on one side might be a little different to the other. I'm wobblier on that side than the other one. Exhale. Balancing yourself, letting go, and coming back here. reset. Notice how your body feels. We do not connect with our body when we're constantly thinking and in our cognitive brain. So last stretch here for the hips, but same thing, but this time we're going to go a little bit wider with our foot. So it's like both hands are coming to the ground here. You can lift or keep the knee down. But this is a beautiful hip opener called lizard pose. You can do this for as long as you like actually. It's a wonderful stretch for hip flexors and for our sort of pelvis and everything the other way. So it's like what we did before, but the foot comes out wider and our hands come to the ground. You can tuck the toes and lift the back leg if that feels good for you, or just leave it like that. It actually doesn't make that much difference. Lovely. And gently walking the feet back, coming back. So coming round to a seated pose, what we call stick, which is actually fairly uncomfortable for some people. You might need your knees sort of supported here, or you can actually sit on a cushion or just a box, anything that will sort of sit you up a bit. So we're just going to do a nice forward fold. So we inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold over our, so the hands can go on thighs, knees, shins, doesn't matter. And release. Might even round at this point, letting everything go. You can hold on to anything, but just don't strain. We're sort of lengthening with compassion. And supporting yourself to come up here. Lovely. One more stretch for our back. So bringing one ankle sort of heel into the side of our thigh, getting nice and firm in our sit bones, nice and tall in the spine, lifting the torso, looking towards our toes, arms come up, inhale and exhale, forward fold again over that leg, but it's a bit different this time. You might even feel like the back is releasing more in this. Again, please support your knees or hips if this is a bit strong. It doesn't have to be, this is not a performance, it's more of an experience. Exhale in tension, as I always say. Coming up. And then we swap. So heel to thigh creates a little bit of pressure, a little lock there. Again, if this is too strong on knees, just put something underneath. It doesn't have to be. Everybody is made so differently. So looking towards our foot, inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale. Yeah. Supporting yourself to come up. Beautiful. So this is, at this point, probably feeling nice, a little bit looser. I really hope it is. Just tuning into your body. If there's anything that's missing, you really need to focus on that area. Let me know. One last favourite move is pigeon. So everybody who works in an office environment should do pigeon every day. I mean, I don't even do it every day. So with pigeon, we can either have one knee. So we've got one knee in either a little triangle or a little square there, and the other knee could be like that. So that is enough, and we can just experiment with up and down here. Or that hip and leg can slide all the way back. It's sometimes called runner's stretch. A bit hard in office pants actually. Now you can support your weight with a pillow here. You don't have to be all the way down, but the aim is we're trying to get our hips open in that position. Now this is actually probably, and then we lie down. This can be quite strong for a lot of people, so I'll show you the reclined version. Same thing, ankle to knee, we lift up the leg and we pull the thigh through. So that might even be easier with office pants on, flexing the toes. Take your pick. So pigeon on the ground or pigeon recline, doesn't matter, it's still a beautiful hip opener. Lovely for releasing stress. we hold so much stress and tension in our hips. That's where our emotional distress is stored. And again, the other side. Always doing both sides. And you can lie down over the knee if you're doing seated. And if you're really comfortable with those hips, you can put the forehead to ground. So pause the video wherever you like to get a little bit more time. There may be parts of you that need a little bit more movement or a little bit more of a hug. But I always encourage you to finish with a softening and a little bit of slowing down. Maybe even lying flat out on the mat like Shavasana. If you don't want to do that at work, just sit. And allowing yourself to notice just your breath and your body, because you've just released all this facial tension and stuff that's been built up. You can even do it kneeling. Just find a spot that feels comfy. Noticing the four parts of the breath. And reminding yourself of that little intention you set at the beginning, because that'll set you up for the weekend beautifully. Just almost breathing it into every step. Thank you. If there's any other requests, I'm perfectly open to hearing about it. Have a great weekend.